to you. If you see anything that you've got questions about, just ask. But we're going to do a crown on tooth number 30 today. So under administration, we tell it we want to use our prime mill. We tell it what manufacturer is making the material we selected, which in this case is CEREC MTL Zirconia. I like MTL Zirconia because it's really, really strong and it's really pretty. So you get the best of both worlds. But typically I'll show the audience our pre-op. So for those of you watching, we have a student here today. So I'm talking to her and talking to you. But we have a large existing restoration. You can see where that's starting to crack and fail. It's kind of difficult to see it on a pre-op scan, but when I was removing this in the mouth, or doing his crown prep in the mouth, the front part of this filling just fell out, so that wasn't bonded very well. And then he had recurrent decay under this part right here. So I was able to remove that. He's also already missing his second molar. So all of his chewing on his right side is really on this one tooth, and it would be a pretty big shame if we lost that. So he elected to protect it with a crown. So we're going to begin the same way we always do, by trimming our model. It makes sense that if we're using a computer, the computer is only as good as the data that we give it. So we remove all of the useless data so that it has an easier time giving us a proposal. Lips, tongue, cheeks, my glove down there, those don't help us. So we're just going to get rid. And here is our proposal. This cheek here in the back. When I return to the chair, I'm going to be replacing this filling. You can see where that's broken and worn down. He doesn't have anything to chew with against it, but I don't love there being holes in teeth. It makes it uncleansable, so we'll fix that after the stream turns off. This is lining him up. In dental school, you will learn curve of Spee is front to back. You'll learn curve of Wilson is left to right. Think of it like the dental arch has a sloping curve to it. It's not a flat line. So this is all we're lining up, this curve of Spee and the curve of Wilson. So that looks okay. Jawline is taking a blue button, putting it in the center of our tooth so that when we draw a margin, which the computer has done for us, we're not cut off. Like you can see, we can't see any other teeth just because we put that blue dot in the center. The computer is panicking right here. It does not see that margin. I can see it, so I will tack it. I think that looks really nice and clean. Now you may be looking and say, okay, well, there's some root surface showing there. Why did we not cover that with the crown? Well, a couple reasons. One, can you see how that's like ditched out right there? See that cave? So it's called an abfraction. Another name is non-carious cervical lesion. It happens when a patient's clench and grind. So that phenomenon is going to continue as long as he's clenching and grinding. If I put a margin there, he's going to start chipping out or ditching out under that margin, which makes it uncleansable, and it's not good. Also, I bond more intimately with enamel than I will with root surface, so he's going to get a better bond. And he's going to be able to clean it more easily because the margin is above the gum line.
Does the root surface from that, does it ever get better if he stops clenching?
Nope, it will never heal. It will always be like this. Now we could do like, I would honestly rather just do a filling there and put it under the crown margin, because if the filling comes out, it's not a big deal. But if you pay $2,000 for a crown and then you get a big hole under it, you're redoing your crown. So, that is not ideal, which is why we're not going to use that part of the tooth. All right, we're going to fix this just a little bit. It's better. So yeah, that is our motivation not to clench and grind our teeth, because we don't want to have fractions. Now, same thing here. So yeah, I could have dropped that margin all the way down to the gum line, but why? Like he's got all of this really good tooth structure here. This is all enamel. This is also easy to clean with his toothbrush. If I put it down here, he's got to have like the perfect modified Bass technique where he's angling his bristles 45 degrees to the gum line. And like, what are the chances he does that when he's drunk and tired and wants to go to bed? Like probably zero. And he may not be brushing his teeth anyway, but this is, I mean, almost the tongue could lick that and clean it. I don't advise that. We should definitely still use a toothbrush, but this is called a hygienic margin. and we still have 2 millimeters of ferrule, which is the height of that prep. So that all looks great. Insertion axis is going to be parallel to the long axis of our neighboring tooth right here. We'll click apply. That undercut's going to go away. So we've got a nice crown prep there. For spacer, we like 120 microns. You'll notice when I adjust this, you see how it's getting thinner and thicker here. So this is the spacer. The spacer is the room between the tooth and the crown. Same thing here. See how that's getting bigger and smaller? So we like 120 microns because that allows room for us to do all of our chemistry, which is the science of bone. Okay, edit element. So AI takes over. AI gives us a proposal. AI is best used as a tool, not as a spoon feeding mechanism. So we're not going to just take what AI gives us and use it. That would be lame. We're going to put our own artistic twist on this and make it better for him. So we have a really good starting point. However, we can overlay his initial tooth and see that he is used to having more cusp here and here and here. So I will bet you we take a smooth or a shaped circular tool and we increase this cusp, we're going to find some occlusion like that. Over here, we will not. The reason I know that is because the dark blue color means we are within 1 millimeter of an opposing tooth. If it's white, we are not close to that other tooth, or at least not within a millimeter. So this side's not really going to help him. We could choose to bring this central groove up some and give him some more bite there. So remember, we were talking earlier, double turquoise or double blues, that's chef's kiss. You could argue it's triple blue because of that other darker color, but we're not that.
You're like, what's the green again?
Green is 25 microns of displacement. So green is like a really, really strong contact. We don't want a really, really strong occlusal contact because if I give that to him, he's going to bite on it and say, my tooth feels different than it did before you touched it. What did you do to me? And we want him to say, oh yeah, feels great. Feels just like it was when I came in today, which is what that double turquoise is going to do. So that's mostly living and learning and doing this thousands of times. You got to learn what works for you. Some people watching the stream may like a little green dot. I personally like double turquoise. He's still going to have contact on that tooth, but it's going to be just right. The last thing we want to consider is what direction does his occlusion or his bite encourage his tooth to move? And it looks like we're going to be okay. So if I had, for instance, most of my bite on that most distal cusp, he is going to experience distal movement of that tooth or movement towards the posterior, which is going to open that contact. And he's going to get food stuck there and he's going to hate me. So I may even smooth this just a little bit to take away part of that turquoise. So I've just got the single layer of turquoise. So now he's going to have more contact up here and less right there. So less forces encouraging us to walk backwards and more encouragement to stay closed on that proximal contact. All right, get rid of the other teeth. Do we love our proximal contact? It's okay. Looks a little broad to me. So I'm just going to use the smooth tool and taper that in just a little bit. That I'm more comfortable with. That I should be able to seat well. And that takes us to our articulator. So it's all fine and dandy when the patient moves up and down like this, but patients don't move like that. They move like this, right? So we need to know what happens when he actually moves around. And that's what this tool is for, functionally generated path. When he moves around, we can see he has no excursive interferences because there's no part of that tooth coming through the purple shield. That's fine. All right. And that is our crown.